Hello, M.BISON, boys, girls, in-betweeners, how you doing? Red Gambit here, and if I look a little bit worse for wear, if I sound a little bit scratchy, it's not because of the COVID. No, it's not. It's because it's 6:30 in the morning here, and I'm still got my morning coffee, and I'm still working through this. So, it's rough times we live in. The Season 5.5 patch came down Street Fighter yesterday, and I have not had a chance to test the matchmaking yet. Hopefully it's better. I've read some mixed opinions on how well that works. I'm hoping that doesn't reduce the number of matches I get, because those were already kind of borderline good at best. So we don't know anything about that yet, or at least I don't know anything about that yet. But the 5.5 patch came down for balance changes and adjustments to characters, and I did not have a chance to do a Season 5 salty breakdown video, as I know you guys would probably upset at me for, because it had been a crazy year. I mean, I thought it had been a crazy year. Holy shit. 2020 made fools of us all, didn't it? And as a result of that, I didn't do it. But the 5.5 patch is here, and I wanted to at least run through it and just offer my thoughts on some things, some clarifications of things you may not know, things like that. And just kind of give a quick overview of the entire thing. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Let's do a little bit of a deep dive, just a jaunt through there, and just see how characters have changed, 3 months after the patch for Season 5 came down, and we'll go from there. So these are the official Capcom patch notes, as we can see. And first things right off the bat, there's been a universal change for all fighters, which is moves for which hitboxes have been extended inward. Now, there was a lot of confusion about this initially. It was very unclear as to what this actually really means. Capcom are good at producing patch notes where they list a change and don't really cover what the purpose of the change is. They don't give an example of how this change actually works. So when you talk about hitboxes being extended inward, outward makes sense because it gives the move more range, but inward, what exactly does that mean? I'm gonna drink more coffee while I'm talking about this. The theory goes at the moment that there are certain moves that characters have, like certain characters have things that are like really good dashes, for example, which will either narrow their hitbox or move their hitbox forward, or just cause some very wonky hitbox interactions during dashes. So if a character dashes in and you throw out a move that has a far-reaching hitbox, there can be situations where the hitboxes they'll move past each other, but don't actually overlap. And that's kind of the best example I can really give at the moment. So where a hitbox has been moved inward, it would basically cause the hitboxes to actually still overlap, and the opponent still get hit for being checked on a dash, something like that. So that's the theory there at the moment, at the least. I don't know how correct that is. I don't know if that's what Capcom are going for, but that's really the best we got at the moment. So diving in from there. So forward dash, so to just go through this as we go, basically. I'm not going to talk about every time they've changed a character's hitbox by moving it inward, because obviously that's pointless. Forward dash, remove the unnecessary reversal hitbox that was in the second half of the movement. That sounds very, minor. A lot of these are very minor changes. Ryu's already a very solid character in Season 5, I think. I think Ryu is exactly where he needs to be. I'm going to try and rattle through these quickly because we got 40-ish characters to go through, and it's going to take forever if I do like a really deep dive on every single character. But overall, I think Ryu is like in a very good place. I think he's very close to where he was in Season 1 without being too busted. He's definitely more challenging than he was previously, so good all around for Ryu. V-Trigger Hadouken, they've extended the hitbox inwards, great. Thrust Strike, they've obviously tried to make this more useful because no one's picking Thrust Strike as their V-skill. Just no one is. I've not seen any Ryus aside from people using it just when it first came out to just see what this was. Ryu players have clearly decided that V-skill 1 is a superior V-skill, and so this to me looks very much like an effort to make it more viable as a second option. Chun-Li is considered to be a top 5 character, if not top 5, definitely top 10 at the moment. She is very strong. She's like very close to where she was in Season 1. Incredibly strong neutral character. As a result of that, they haven't done anything to nerf her, because of course they wouldn't. Why would they? Because Capcom make baffling decisions when they make balance changes to this game. Aside from that, really just seems to be pretty much as she was. There's just some very minor token changes there. Same goes with Nash. Nash as a character probably could have used buffs. Whether he needs an invincible reversal or not, that really depends on whether you're a Nash player or not. But yeah, hitbox inward, and they've just made Sonic Scythe a bit more consistent, where it doesn't miss. Bison, again, easily a top 5 character. They've done nothing to nerf him. The only thing that's interesting is that Hell's Warp has increased pushback on block. That'll be interesting to see. I would suspect that that's... Well, I mean, I do not suspect, because I don't know what Capcom do with this game anymore. I've given up trying to guess what their logic is when they do anything with this game. I would hope that just gives Bison perhaps a little bit less pressure on block when he does V-Skill 2, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Cammy, they've just tried to make the spin knuckle more consistent in those situations that we talked about. Same thing with Birdie. Cammy's obviously still strong. Birdie obviously still very strong. They've moved basically all of his hitboxes inwards, so that's fine. They've made shoe time a little bit better, so his V-Scale 2 can cancel from an EX Bullhead or Bullhorn, so he gets a little bit more of an option there with that. People who are hoping that Cam will get buffs obviously go straight to hell because they've just moved his hitboxes and that's it. Nikali, again, same thing. Interesting thing, they've made some changes to the crawling beast here. They've moved the hitbox inside the projectile when the character is touching the opponent. Projectile invincibility now lasts 7 frames before the stun ends. So, I don't know, I suppose that's for situations where he may be potentially running into another projectile or something. I don't know. That's an interesting one. That's probably something that Kali players can answer better than I can. But just gives a bit more projectile invincibility. It's already a very good V skill. I think it's very good for characters who do not have anti-projectile tech, basically. To the point where I still pick V skill 1 against Nikali, just so he can't pick V skill 2. So yeah, that's interesting. Vega, again, if you're hoping for buffs for Vega, you can go straight to hell. All of his hitboxes have been moved inwards. Sky High Claw changed the mid-air hitbox, so just to avoid some jank bullshit, basically. And made some tweaks to Bloody Rain. That's about it. Armika can go straight to hell, although she's still a good character. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Armika at the moment. I think she's exactly where she needs to be. Vega, I can't make comment on whether he's where he needs to be or not, because I just don't know the character well enough. He kind of seems to be pretty solid as well. I haven't really talked about these characters. Okay, moving on from there. Rashido. That's terrible. It's way too early to be singing. Let's drink some more coffee. That is instant coffee. It does not taste as good as I'm making it out to be. Alright, Rashid, again, incredibly strong. He's so weird. He's a character that it doesn't seem to matter how much you nerf Rashid, he still seems to be incredibly good. The fact that he got an air dash probably helps that a lot, but he still just seems to be incredibly good. Like, from what I've seen at high level play, people really don't seem that worried about the additional whiff punish the capability, I guess? I don't know. The fact that he is more whiff punishable now. That was the big thing of Season 5. They're like, oh, well, we're not going to nerf his frame data to make him more minus on block or make him slower to start up. We're just going to make him more whiff punishable. And Rashid players don't really seem to be too worried about that from what I've seen. So going on from there. So let's have a look. I haven't had a chance to look in detail through all these, so I'm kind of looking at these. Some of them I'm looking at as like, there we go, essentially. Increased size of hurt box, so that's a nerf. Increased landing time, that's a nerf. Increased landing time, that's a nerf. Increased hitbox inward, that's just whatever. Hurt box has been moved inward when activated. Extended hurt box. So he's looking like he's getting some minor nerfs here. They've increased the landing time on EX Spinning Mixer a lot, which is interesting. There's a whole extra 10 frames there. And so yeah, it doesn't seem to be too big from what I can see there, but there do seem to be some more minor nerfs there. So at least they're still trying to tweak Rashid. But like I said, very strong character. Speaking of strong characters, we still got Karin. Hitbox moved inward. V-Skill 2 just looks like it's been changed to be more viable again, kind of Ryu treatment here. V-Gauge increases when the projectile collides with another, reduced knockback distance on the non-held version, so when it results in a crush counter, so that's a buff. Slight nerf to startup on the non-held version. Reduce the stun on EX Seppo by 2 frames when cancelled to the hold version, and reduce the mid-air combo count. So there's some buffs and some nerfs in here, so it's just some adjustments on the V-Skill 2 here by the look of things. ZANGIEF, the protector of Russian skies, basically just gets a change to Iron Muscle. Inputting a step cancel before muscle walk gave him advantage, and occasionally resulted in an unintended muscle walk. For these reasons, a step cancel can no longer be performed in advance, so that just looks like a quality of life improvement. Aside from that, absolutely no changes. Laura gets some very minor changes to her hitboxes, character central access, no more moves on frames on first frame and second frame. That's it. Laura, definitely a strong character, obviously. Idon proving that very much so. That said, I don't think she really needs to be nerfed. I think she's very strong. Absolutely. But unlike some other characters who are top tier, she has some very clear weaknesses. And I think that she, like, as much as it galls me to say it, I think she's probably good where she is. Alright, how long have we been going for? 11 minutes, we gotta move this along. Dowsum just moved a bunch of hitboxes, that's basically it. Excuse me, that was weird. V-Skill 2 as well as V-Skill 1 can now be cancelled off of Whiffed EXQ GUILE. So that's nice. Aside from that, just nothing. Fing Fang Fum. I mean, he's fine, he's basically where he needs to be. Fang I can't comment on, I don't know the character well enough. Hitboxes moved, extended hitbox when activated, increased the opponent's knockback on hit. Very, very minor changes, so Capcom obviously feels he's where he needs to be. Alex got buffed. In some situations, it's just with Lariats, they've made some quality of life improvements there. O-Chain can now be cancelled from a bunch more stuff. They've made some tweaks to the EX/Elbow, which is kind of interesting, so they've nerfed that a little bit, but it gets some buffs to other areas, so interesting. What's interesting about Guile is that Dive Sonic got nerfed. I did read that one, which is very interesting to me. So they've moved all of his hitboxes inward, which is fine, but Dive Sonic changed the actions, changed all actions from 54 frames to 59 frames, so it's slower. Increased the time for a jump by 3 frames, the startup from 22 to 25. Additionally, landing recovery time has been changed from 13 frames to 15 frames, so that's all nerfs, although there's no changes made to the hit and guard stun. Changed the invincibility timing for the foothold box from 7 frames to 13 frames, reduced hitbox downward, reduced hurtbox downward while jumping, which is actually kind of a buff I would imagine, and reduced pushback on block. So all these things, except for basically this one, are nerfs to Dive Sonic, which is very interesting because Dive Sonic was absolutely the go-to V-Skill for Guile players. Like, no one used crouch walk. Just no one is using that. So that's very interesting. They've just looked at, like, Guile's kind of like a character who was very, very strong in previous seasons, but the last couple seasons has been actually receiving some meaningful nerfs. So he's one of those broken clock characters where Capcom been right twice a day, basically. So I'm happy to see that. Dive Sonic I feel, is a bit abusable. Probably more abusable than it should be for a character who already has a bunch of projectiles and plus on block. So even, I mean, I know Dive Sonic is minus on block, but it's still like a great neutral tool for Guile, so very interesting. Ibuki, basically some very minor changes here. Nakabushi can now be stopped with an attack in the interval between start and landing, so that's enough. Extended hitboxes. Ibuki, I've said before, is fine. She's, again, like Laura, she's a very strong character, but she's pretty much where she needs to be right now. That's my take there. Some changes to Kunai. They just changed his hitboxes, that's it. Balrog, very strong character, but also where he needs to be. Just nothing. Just all hitbox changes, nothing else. Jury! Kill me. They've changed the V-Skill too, that's it. They gave her an incredibly minor change to reduce the startup time from 53 frames to 50 frames, which, I mean, I guess that gives you better OQ options in some situations, that after a knockdown you can go for a V-Skill store. But like, getting V-Skill store for Fuhua Enzan was never really a problem in my opinion, because it was already, like, you know, quite as fast compared to V-Skill 1, it's very hard to react to. Yeah, unless you can throw it out, as long as you're not in neutral range, you can throw it out pretty much any time, you don't have to worry about it. So I guess the only improvement here is that, like I said, yeah, knockdown, you have better options to just go for a quick V-Skill store after knockdown. That's kind of it. That's literally the only change. They didn't even change their hitboxes. Their hitboxes are fine. The fact that, Fireball store whiffs on block, that's fine. The fact that back heavy kick whiffs on block, that's fine. Fuck me. Anyway, URIEN, nothing. AKUMA, they gave him some nerfs to V-Skill 2, which is interesting. They've just reduced things all around, damage down, combo count down, V-gauge increase down. Although, yeah, I mean, that's basically it's just nerfs, but for the most part, so interesting. Also, should probably point out, URIEN, I think he's fine where he is. AKUMA, still probably a bit too busted. Probably do with being more nerfed. Cullen, again, very strong character. Probably a bit too strong, could probably do with a little bit of nerf, in my opinion. Fixed a bug for Frost Tower, and fixed a bug for Hailstorm. That's it. Ed could probably really use some buffs at this point. Extend the hitbox inwards, so he's just got hitbox changes, nothing else. So he's in the same, for a character who stole moves from Jury, he's in the same camp as Jury. They're both functioning as intended. Abigail. Hit back on block increased, crouching like kick. Don't know what hit back on block, I mean, pushback on block? Maybe that's a typo? I don't know. Nitro charge now causes the opponent to fall to their knees on the ground and hit. And they've limited the combo count for V-Trigger 1, which is interesting. So the less damage off V-Trigger 1, that's not bad. Obviously that's a little bit of nerf. Basically nothing for Renard. They changed V-Skill 2, changed active frames, that's it. Also, again, Abigail, I think he's fine. He's obnoxious and he's stupid, but he does what he needs to do as a character, so I think he's okay. Not also completely okay, completely fine with her. Zeku for once does not get a shit ton of changes, which is nice. They've made the cancel timing for one move faster. They've changed the timing for I don't really know this character very well, so I'm gonna stop pretending that I do. They've changed the timing for the she to appear. I don't know what that is. Entire action, that's great. So V-Skill 2 has had some changes. I can't even tell whether those are good or bad changes. Someone's going to tell me in the comments. That's how well I know this character. Changed cancel timing for Shikomo. Again, I'm just gonna stop embarrassing myself. Someone tell me whether this is good or bad. I don't know. Sakura. Again, I think she's fine. She's been proven to be stronger than everyone thought after winning Evo Japan, which is very interesting. I don't think anyone would ever have seen that coming. So she got nothing. That's fine. V-Skill 2 gets increased knockback time. That's it. I think she's fine as well. I think she's perfectly good as a character. I still think she's a better version of Ryu. Don't, at me, whatever, don't at me. That's just my thoughts. Blanca. Nothing but hitbox changes. Falk. Get some changes to setting HK. That's interesting. Hitbox in the ankle now hits crouching opponents, that's a nice buff for her. Change recovery time from 22 frames to 23 frames, which is a slight nerf. Added hurtbox 1 frame before the move is active, which is a slight nerf. Increased time to the hurtbox on the attacking foot disappears by 5 frames. Increase the time until the hitbox and the attack foot disappears. So that's a buff by look of it. Add a hitbox between the knee and the foot. So that's a nerf. And increase pushback on guard, which is that's a buff or a nerf depending on how you look at it, I suppose. Actually, on guard, less pushback is probably nerf. So that's fine. I don't know what Zweitrit. Zweitrit? I'm embarrassing myself again. Let's drink more coffee. Don't know the character well enough to know what that move is, and I'm not going to look it up. Overall, Falk, again, I think she's good. I think she's where she needs to be. I've said a lot of this before. I've said in the past that I think 70% of the roster of this game is where they need to be, but 15% are broken and 15% need to be buffed. The Mayor of Metro City. probably do with some buffs, actually. I don't think he's really not strong enough. You'd never see anyone playing Cody. He's just not good enough at what he does. So they fixed some bugs there and extended the hitbox, so he is functioning as intended according to Capcom. Basically nothing but hitbox changes for G, extend the hitbox for the cancel version, for G, for V-Skill 2. So that's a slight nerf. Sagat, reduce the knee hurtbox, reduce the guard and recovery time by 2 frames, reduce the knee hurtbox. So I saw a tweet from a Sagat player who thought this was broken. They thought this was a huge buff, which is interesting. So I don't know how true that is. People can mention in the comments whether they believe that's the case or not, but that's what one person said at least. That said, G is obnoxious. He's probably, I mean, is he too strong? To my mind, G is very much on the verge of being too strong. I don't know whether he is specifically or not, but he's very close to it. Sagat could actually probably do a little bit of a buff, so if this is a buff, great. Lucia, again, probably do, like, Lucia's a weird one, because she looked so strong when she came out. She looked incredibly strong, but no one plays her. So that is very weird to me, because she's got some really amazing mix-up potential, actually, with her fireballs, especially in Vitriga, but just no one, I don't know whether it's because she's just not that good, or just no one is interested in playing the character. But that's a weird one to me. I thought she was going to be super, like, good, basically. Anyway, enough of that. Increase pushback on block for the regular version. Increase the size of the box that triggers on the opponent's attack for, this is for V-Skill 2. So, just a change to V-Skill 2, that's it. We're almost done! Gillian! He's interesting, he's a very strong character, but I don't think he's busted because he does have some very clear weaknesses, so I think Gil's fine. Increase pushback on guard for his V-Reversal. So if V-Reversal doesn't give you a good advantage, so that's enough. This is a buff here. Using the dive comment during V-Trigger does not use V-Trigger time anymore, so that's a nice buff. And Seraphic Wing, they fixed a minor bug where they had weird shit happening, basically. And lastly, Seth. The guard will now be continuous when falling up from a guard into a Cyclone Disaster during V-Trigger 2. I have played a fair bit of Seth, but I never touched V-Trigger 2 because it's just not. That looks like a skill that needs to be developed, basically. That's a whole different ball game. It's a mix up V-Trigger, so I just don't want to touch it at the moment. So that's it. If your character is not listed in there, it's because they did not get any changes at all, like Kage, for example. Kage is absolutely is the walking definition of functioning as intended. So that's season 5.5 in a nutshell. What do I think of it overall? It's a very, very minor patch. They basically just tried to fix the problem where hitboxes don't overlap properly. And that's kind of it. Most people just got changes to that and some very, very minor token changes. There was very few, at least to my eyes, which are not the most, high tier eyes in the world. I've got glasses. I don't see everything, is my point. I don't know the minutiae of some characters, as I mentioned. So there could be some more profound stuff in there that I missed, but overall it just looks like a fairly just quality of life patch for most characters. Doesn't seem to be anything remarkable. I don't see any positions changing dramatically on tier lists as a result of this patch. So make of that what you will. This is probably going to be the last patch we ever see for this game, obviously. At least in terms of major balance changes. I would be genuinely shocked at this point if we saw more characters or more balance changes out of this patch. I just don't. It would be very weird to me if we did. It really feels like the game is reaching its twilight stages in terms of development. So that's enough. I've waffled on for too long. We've been going for 25 minutes. My God. So that's it. That's my thoughts on the patch. If you wanted to know what they were, by all means, list what you have in the comments below. Thoughts, feelings. If you enjoyed, please remember to like and subscribe. Do all those YouTube things that help me out a lot, because I do appreciate that. And yeah, as always, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. I will see all of you very soon.